the Sports Authority of India. It's been going great all these days, and like you all know, we have Mr. Miguel Crespo lined up to give a presentation at 3:30. But before that, we have a double treat for you. It is not one celebrity, we have two for the day. And do you think you'll be able to guess? Let me see the chats. Any guesses, anybody? I don't think you'll know. Okay. So it's going to be our present captain, the current captain of the Davis Cup team, and the current captain of the Fed Cup team. Rohit Rajpal, the captain of the Indian Davis Cup team, and Vishal Uppal, the captain of the Indian Fed Cup team. Both of them have come up with some phenomenal performances of late. As you all know, the Fed Cup team of India has reached the playoff in the World Group, and it's an amazing achievement. We have created history, and Vishal was was center of all of this. And we have Rohit Rajpal. Hi, Rohit. You can all switch on your videos. Hi, Vishal. Can you switch on your video? Hi, Rohit.
How are you?
Hi, Vishal.
Hi, Suresh. I think the host has disabled my video. Can you see my video now?
No, we can see you.
Okay, great. Hi. Thanks for having
me. Yeah, you're looking good with the Indian flag on your T-shirt.
Yeah, that's our Fed Cup jersey.
Nice. Okay, can I invite Bishwadeep to come in and say a few words before we start?
Yeah, I mean, hi, Suresh. Great to be back again. Absolutely great to see Rohit and Vishal here. Rohit, thanks for joining us. Vishal, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This initiative has been, just for your information, you probably already know, it's been going on for quite some time now, since the 27th of last month. Last Monday, this is our second week. We are on the second day of the second week. We've already had 6 sessions in the first month. There's a little bit of sound somewhere. Himanshu, you might have to look into this, please. Hello, Himanshu. There's a little bit of sound, so you'll have to mute the others, please. थोड़ा आवाज आ रही थी. Okay, great. So can you hear me, Rohit? Okay. So as I said, it's great to have you here. We've been having some excellent sessions, very informative, very interesting, and really being appreciated by the audience here. This is an initiative, as you know, of the Sports Authority of India, as well as the All India Tennis Association, and which is education team of the All India Tennis Association has been doing this. We have been calling a couple of a well-known tennis personality on a daily basis, and we've had some Rohan and Ankita Raina and Yuki and all these superstars. And in fact, yesterday Leander had some absolutely great things to say about you. We remembered about Rohit, about the early days at BAT, and so many other things that he had to talk about. So anyway, I'm not going to take much time. We also have a and this is for all the people who are attending today. We have this very accomplished gentleman called Mr. Miguel Crespo from the International Tennis Federation, who will be giving us a very what should hopefully be a very useful and informative session. So over to you, Suresh, to take over and have this conversation with Vishal and Rohit.
Thank you, Bishwadeep. Bishwadeep has been responsible for putting this whole webinar together and making sure that we have personalities like you to interact with us, which is a phenomenal thing. Rohit, I like the mask on your neck. Even at home, you're all prepared.
I'm actually at the office, so that's the reason I'm wearing it.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So what a call, Rohit. It was amazing that it was your first, role as a captain for the Indian Davis Cup team, and you go there and you take stock of the situation, you bypass the rankings, you leave out the guy who was ranked number 1 and you made number 2 and number 3 play, and you almost made it. You know, almost. Just if Ram had won that match, we would have beaten them. Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, I'll surely do that. Firstly, before I start, I want to congratulate Vishal on his fantastic victory. I think he achieved history and by getting the team to get to the World Cup. So well done and congratulations.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, bhai. Thank you.
And yeah, coming back to Davis Cup, you know, it was basically a strategical move, you know, because part of when we went there, we were practicing and we saw the court behaving in a certain way. You know, we just got the court from Monday onwards, and they just laid it on Sunday itself. We noticed that the bounces were, you know, the bounce of the court was very low, and the ball was a little, you know, slow, and it was not doing anything really. So you really had to work hard for a point. And so it was a tough decision, you know. Normally to get your number 1 player to hit the bench was not an easy decision. But I think in the interest of the team and interest of the country and as a strategy, because if I would have made him sit down, then the first match we would have played was, you know,
Cilic?
No, we were not playing Cilic. We were trying to get the first one, which we played the number 2 guy, Bruno.
Yeah.
You know, and we were trying to get him actually, and you know, had that was an important match for us. If you would won that first match, it would have been a different story altogether. And unfortunately, we didn't. You know, we lost that in 3 sets, and that put us back because. And you know, had we been 1-love up, it would have been a different story because Cilic came up with some very big shots at very important points. And you know, normally under pressure, I think it would have been a different story, and Ram would have gotten him. Because both sets he had set points, so unfortunate. But as a strategy, I thought we did well on that front, and we were there, but not there. Close, but couldn't close the match, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a bit unlucky there, but we thought you were going to make it. There would have been another history, maybe.
Yeah, those guys were like, you know, they said that this was so close, and you know, as a strategy, they didn't. It was a big shock factor for them that I made the number 1 player sit down. They were not prepared for it. You know, they were preparing for. They were watching our number 1 player and all the time and preparing for him. So we created a bit of a shock factor also. So unfortunately, it didn't go through. But we were very close. We were very close to that.
Right. It also comes to the factor that a few years ago we had 1 top player in the top 100 or somewhere there, and then the next player will be like way behind. But now we have like 3 guys. You know, they are ready to crack into the top 100, and then we have a couple of more guys waiting outside the top 200. So do you think tennis is going someplace from where it was?
Certainly, I think, you know, that shows that we have started to have depth in our team, and the boys that are playing, you know, because they've always been traditionally depending on 1 player to do something. But now, you know, as a captain, I'm sure Vishal also agrees, you know, it's a nice thing to have a few players in the basket where you can turn around. You know, for example, we did it in Croatia, where we found the court wasn't behaving in a certain way, and we felt that Prajnesh would do a little better than Sumit on that surface. So, you know, once you have a bunch of players, you can do things around, and that creates a lot of strength for a captain.
Absolutely, yeah. And also, but the only problem is when you're selecting the team, you're going to have trouble. You have to take into so many things into consideration, not just the ranking.
I know that's always going to be tough. You know, that's always going to be tough with these guys. But you're mentally prepared, and I think you know, when you as a captain, when you're, I think it's important that you stay neutral and everybody understands the players and this thing that, you know, you don't have an agenda, or you know, you would do anything that will be best for the country.
Yeah.
I think then it's, you know, life becomes a little easier. You know, but still not easy, like I said.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a team effort, totally. And over to Vishal.
Hi, Suresh.
Hi, Vishal. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to share some of your experiences from this phenomenal win.
Yeah, it really was phenomenal. You know, I think just to take on where Rohit was saying, if your plans work out, you're a maverick. And if they don't, you're considered clueless. So luckily for me and for us, my plans worked out well. You know, I had a very clear strategy in mind. where I knew when to use what players and how to go about it. We knew China was going to be the toughest team in the draw, and to beat them potentially would have been quite a task. Even then, we gave them a very tough fight. Ankita and Rutuja played really well. And there were some critics who did say that why I didn't field Sanya in the doubles match against China. But that was my strategy, to save her for when we need her the most. And I knew quite clearly going into the tie that our team had good enough players to beat the rest of the lot. And we had to work really hard for it. The girls fought tooth and nail. It's not easy to come out in 5 days in a row, day after day after day and play. I think hats off to the entire team, to the support staff, who were there working tirelessly to make sure the girls are ready. And it was a pure team effort.
Yeah, this always is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Narsingh, are you there? Narsingh wanted to ask some questions in Hindi because there's a lot of demand for interactions in Hindi. So over to you, Narsingh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Rohit.
Hi, how are you, Narsingh ji?
ठीक है.
Hi, Narsingh. How are
Good
you?
to see you guys.
Good to see you.
पहली चीज तो ये कि आप दोनों ही DLT के खिलाड़ी, और साथ ही मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि जो DLT की उपलब्धि है, सामने आज बैठी है 2 कैप्टन्स जो हमारे देश के लिए सबसे बड़ी टीम होती है, डेविस कप और फेड कप, आज सामने स्क्रीन पे सबके सामने, यानी कि एक बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है दिल्ली शहर के लिए, या हम कहेंगे DLT की भी इसमें बहुत बड़ी है. भारत का दोनों ही खिलाड़ी डेविस कप में खेल चुके हैं, और यही एक चीज है जो हम अक्सर कहते हैं कि आपको एक अचीव करना है बहुत हाई लेवल पर, एंड बोथ यू अचीव्ड आल्सो, बोथ प्लेड एट डेविस कप for the country, which is really appreciable.
Thank you, but a lot of credit to you. You put a lot of hard work in us.
वही बात मैं करने वाला था रोहित और विशाल से अभी, कि विशाल की जर्नी और आपकी जर्नी में काफी सिमिलरिटी है, कि दोनों ने ही एक बड़ी छोटी एज से शुरू किया, और आपने रोहित बहुत छोटी एज से क्लब में शुरू करी थी टेनिस आपने, और फिर उसके बाद आप DLT आए, नरेंद्र सिंह आपके कोच थे. इस तरीके से आप जर्नी आपकी जो थी कोचों के हाथ में चलती हुई, और आपने जाके रोलन हैंसन और फिर बलराम सिंह के संग बहुत करके आपने काफी ट्रैवलिंग भी की. तो वो थोड़ा सा प्रकाश डाले कि आपकी टेनिस के साथ में जो आपका कोच का जो साथ था, और जो अक्सर आपने देखा होगा कि जो कोच आपको सपोर्ट करता है, क्योंकि उस टाइम पर एक सपोर्टिंग टीम नहीं चलती थी, सिर्फ कोच ही चलता था पहले, और वो कोच आपको किस प्रकार से लेके चलता था और क्या क्या चीज उस टाइम, जरा थोड़ा प्रकाश डाले इसके ऊपर, कि आपको मजबूरी भी होती थी और आपकी सफलताएं भी होती थी उस टाइम पर, थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताएं आप.
So I think इस जर्नी में देखेंगे तो फ्रेंकली मैंने तो काफी लेट शुरू किया था. मैं करीब 8 साल का था. आजकल 8 साल से शुरू किया, बट लकीली क्विक मतलब पिकअप थे चीजों को लेके, और तो वहां से अलग अलग कोचेस का, आई मस्ट से दैट आई थैंक देम ऑल, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम इवन अ मार्कर हु स्टार्टेड इन पंचील क्लब विद मी. he basically made me hold a racket in my hand. एंड उस टाइम बच्चे होते थे तो कोई खेलता नहीं था क्लब में आपके साथ. तो इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट मैं मेक करूंगा इसके अंदर कि आप जब कोई खेलता नहीं था तो कोच से आप एक लेसन लेते थे, उसके बाद सब बच्चे के साथ कोई खेलता नहीं था तो आप वॉल पे जाके प्रैक्टिस करते थे. तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट वो रहा मेरे करियर के अंदर, कि मुझे वॉल मिल गई थी अपने घर पे ही, और वहाँ पे मैं काफी प्रैक्टिस करता था. कभी कभी शीशा टूट जाता था तो बहुत कान की चाय भी होती थी, but that really helped me building up. And then of course Narendra Singh and Balram Singh, and then I was very lucky कि मेरे को बाहर ट्रैवल करने का मौका मिला. मैं स्वीडन में जाके रहा, पहले बैट में रहा, 6.5 साल बैट में रहा मैं, और फिर उसके बाद मैं स्वीडन में रहा, फिर फ्लोरिडा में रहा, फिर इंग्लैंड में रहा, और वहाँ पे मैं अलग अलग कोचेस के साथ मुझे ट्रेन करने का मौका मिला. So I was very lucky in that way. And each coach I think played a very very important role, because आज की डेट में अगर आप देखेंगे तो players are managed in a very different way. You have a physio, and बहुत फर्क पड़ता है उससे, बिकॉज वो आपको सिर्फ फिजिकलिटी पे आपको देख रहा है और आपकी वीकनेस और आपकी स्ट्रेंथ्स के ऊपर काम कर रहा है. उस टाइम पे हमारे को तो सिर्फ कोच होते थे, और कोच भी हम लोग, हमारे ज़माने में फिजिकलिटी पे इतना एजुकेशन नहीं था. तो जो भी हम लोग करते थे अपनी मेहनत से करते थे कि भाई लगे रहेंगे, और कुछ चीज़ें यहाँ से देखी, कुछ वहाँ से देखी, कुछ वीडियोस देख लिए, और फिर वही चीजें आप लोगों ने फिजिकलिटी अपने आप टेनिस कोचेस के साथ करी. सो आई थिंक द कोचेस एट दैट टाइम आल्सो हैड बहुत बर्डन था उनके ऊपर कि उनको ट्रेनिंग भी करानी पड़ती थी, टेक्निक भी ठीक करानी पड़ती थी और हिटिंग भी करनी पड़ती थी. कई बार आपको याद होगा, आपको खड़ा करके बहुत आपकी रिस्ट काफी दर्द कराई है मैंने. बट तो बहुत रोल था उस टाइम कोचेस का एक्चुअली. आज की डेट में अगर आप देखें तो उस तरीके से काफी प्रोफेशनलाइज हो गया, बिकॉज कोचेस वर्क ऑन टेक्निक एंड देन हिटर आ गए. आपको हिट करने के लिए बंदे चाहिए तो अलग से हिट करने के लिए मिल जाते हैं. और ऑफ कोर्स फिजिकली तो आपको मिल ही जाता है, ट्रेनर मिल जाते हैं जो ट्रेन करते हैं. फिर आपके लिए अगर इंजरी हो रही है तो आपके पास वो डॉक्टर्स अलग होते हैं, फिजियो, जहाँ आप जाते हैं और वहाँ पे थेरेपी करके इंजरी रिकवरी कर लेते हैं. तो ओवरऑल आई थिंक थिंग्स हैव रियली मूव्ड. आई विश, जब मैं देखता हूँ कि आज कितनी सुविधाएं हैं एक प्लेयर के लिए, अगर हम लोगों को मिली होती इस तरीके से तो यू नो आई रियली फील कि दैट 30-40% which was lacking at that time for us would have made all the difference for us also. Be better players.
मेरा मकसद था जब पूछने का आपसे क्वेश्चन कि आपने उस मुश्किलात में, उस समय इतनी मुश्किल चीज थी और अकेला कोच जो जैसे डीएल टीम आप होते थे, मैं ही ट्रेनिंग करवा रहा हूँ, मैं ही आपका कोच हूँ, मैं ही आपका डाइटिशियन हूँ, यू नो एक ही आदमी खाली करता था. आज हर चीज मिलती है. तो अभी जो कमी नजर आ रही है, आपने देखा हुआ ये आपने ट्रांजैक्शन में कि फ्रॉम दैट जूनियर टू सीनियर बन के जाए, और आपने देखा होगा कि इस समय आपने कई लोगों के संग अभी वार्तालाप भी करते हैं आप अच्छे प्लेयरों के संग में, कि अब जो कमी है उसको हमें दूर करने के लिए कितना और समय लगेगा कि हम इंटरनेशनल प्लेयरों में बहुत ज्यादा तब्दील हो जाएं?
देखिए, सबसे ज्यादा चीज जो मेरे को लगती है जरूरी, जहाँ पे हम लोग लैक करते हैं फ्रॉम जूनियर्स ट्रांजिशन इनटू सीनियर्स, वो हमारा फिजिकल एस्पेक्ट है. बिकॉज अगर आप देखेंगे यूरोपियंस को या अमेरिकन्स को, तो फिजिकली इन एनी केस बाय जीन्स दे मैच्योर मच फास्टर, देयर बॉडीज आर मैच्योर. Indians tend to mature or Asians tend to mature a little later, maybe a couple of years later. But मेरे को अच्छी तरह याद है कि मैं जब मैं स्वीडन में भी था और जब मेरे को मौका मिला जिम कुरियर के साथ ट्रेन करने का, करीब आई थिंक 1 साल में उसके साथ रहा, जब वो आई थिंक टॉप 10 में थे लेकिन वर्ल्ड नंबर 1 ही थे. वो उसके बाद वर्ल्ड नंबर 1 रहे. तो वो 1 साल जो था, आई थिंक मैं कभी भूल नहीं सकता हूँ जिस तरीके की ट्रेनिंग उन्होंने करी. और उस दौरान जॉर्ज जिगुरस कोच होते थे जो हम लोगों को ट्रेन कर रहे थे, और सारा एम्फेसिस जो था वो स्ट्रेंथ पे था, फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ पे. तो टेक्निक करने के बाद ज्यादातर टाइम हम लोगों को फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ के ऊपर जाता था. तो आई थिंक दिस इज लैकिंग इन अ बिग वे इन आवर प्लेयर्स, दैट द काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ्स दैट दे नीड टू हैव टू बी ऑन अ कोर्ट, वो जरूरी है हम लोगों को, ताकि हम लोग बच्चों को पहले से ही तैयार कर सकें तो ये ट्रांजिशन थोड़ी स्मूथ हो. बिकॉज आप जैसे ही 18 साल से आप जूनियर से 19 साल में जाते हैं, सडनली आपको एक्सपोजर मिलता है कि आप अपने से 10 साल बड़े आदमी से खेल रहे हैं. उसका मैच्योरिटी लेवल, उसका फिजिकल लेवल, उसकी जो प्लेयर की डिमांड होती है, सडनली आप एक शेर के सामने आ गए. और उससे पहले आप प्रोटेक्टेड होते हैं क्योंकि आप 18 साल के बच्चों से आपस में इक्वल्स में खेल रहे होते हैं या अपने से छोटे से खेल रहे होते हैं. और सडनली यहाँ पे आप एक आते हैं कि वो अपने से कई उम्र के और एक्सपीरियंस ज्यादा और फिजिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग लोग से खेल रहे हैं. तो दिस आई थिंक हैज बीन अ बिग वीकनेस. And I think that if people are listening, then this is the area they need to work. The boys need to be much more stronger.
आपको कैसा लगा जब आप कैप्टन बने भारत के डेविस कप में? जैसे कि आप लिएंडर ने कल बोला कि जब वो संग बैठे होते थे, जब मेरा सहपाठी था, मेरा दोस्त था जो संग में, वो वाज अ हिटिंग पार्टनर ऑल द टाइम इन अ बैट. आज वो मैं प्लेयर हूँ और वो कैप्टन है. तो वो जो लम्हा था, जो वो समय था, आपको भी कैसा लगा होगा कि आज मेरा साथी जो है वो प्लेयर है और मैं कैप्टन हूँ टीम के साथ?
बहुत अच्छा लगा. फ्रैंकली थोड़ा सा अनएक्सपेक्टेड था, बिकॉज कुछ 2-3 साल पहले या 4-5 साल पहले ऐसा कुछ टाइम था जब प्लेयर्स ने एक बार कैप्टन चेंज हो रहा था, सब प्लेयर्स ने बोला था कि आप बन जाइए. उस टाइम महेश भी खेलते थे, पर उस टाइम जब मैं बनने लगा तो फिर मेरे को आनंद राज का फोन आ गया कि बोला यार मैं हमेशा आपका सीनियर हूँ और मैं ऑलमोस्ट 68-70 का होने वाला हूँ और मेरी ड्रीम था कि मैं कैप्टन बनूं, बट हमेशा विजय कैप्टन रह गए और मेरे को चांस नहीं मिला. तो इफ यू डोंट माइंड, आप बैठ जाओ, आपके पास एज है सामने और मेरे को बनने दीजिए. तो आनंद ने जब जूनियर थे तो हमेशा मेरा मतलब एक तरीके से सपोर्ट ही किया. जब भी मैं बैट पे था, कोई भी चीज चाहिए होती थी तो सपोर्ट करते थे. तो मेरे को लगा कि मुझे बैठना चाहिए जरूर, तो मैं बैठ गया. और मुझे उसके बाद एक्चुअली लगा कि शायद मेरा चांस चला गया बिल्कुल और मुझे अब भूल जाना चाहिए इसके बारे में. बट आई थिंक एक कोई अच्छी डीड करी थी तो उस वजह से एक किस्मत ने फिर से मौका दिया और आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू गॉड एंड AITA to put all the belief in me. for
And
this.
you're back in the tennis again.
I'm back.
Very nice. विशाल, आप विशाल मेरे पुराने दोस्त भी हैं और अच्छे खिलाड़ी भी हैं और साथ में डीएल टीम में काफी हद तक विशाल ने भी काम किया. विशाल, अगर हम बात करें अपने आपकी छोटी एज से, बिकॉज वी नो द आपको छोटेपन से ही देखा हमने, अपने दादा के संग आते थे आप टेनिस खेलने के लिए, और रामलाल जी जो टेनिस खिलाया करते थे आपको मॉडर्न स्कूल में, तो वो टाइम था जो उस टाइम आपको लोग कहते थे आप क्रिकेट के अच्छे प्लेयर बन रहे हैं, लेकिन क्रिकेट को छोड़ के आप सीधा उसमें फिर टेनिस में आए थे. तो उस समय आपको क्या लगा था कि चेंज करके मैं टेनिस में ही अच्छा प्लेयर बनूं? क्या सोचा था आपने उस टाइम?
नरसिंह सर, मैंने तो टेनिस काफी लेट शुरू करी थी, मतलब 11 साल की उम्र पे स्टार्ट करी थी, और मेरी शुरुआत भी थोड़ी इत्तेफाकन ही हुई थी, क्योंकि स्कूल गर्मियों की छुट्टियों में जो स्कूल में जो ब्रेक पीरियड होता है उसमें क्रिकेट खेलने में बड़ी गर्मी थी, तो हम कुछ दोस्तों ने सोचा कि टेनिस पर हाथ आजमाते हैं. तो क्योंकि मैं अपनी बैच का सबसे फास्टेस्ट रनर था, तो मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती थी कि ब्रेक की घंटी जैसी बजे मैं भागकर मॉडर्न स्कूल में जो 6 कोर्ट्स हैं उनमें से एक कोर्ट तक पहुंचूं और कोर्ट पे खड़ा हो जाऊं कि इस कोर्ट पे अब हम खेलेंगे. तो मेरी शुरुआत ऐसे हुई, और रामलाल सर ने, जो हमारे स्कूल के कोच थे, मुझे देखा और 2 दिन बाद बोला कि तुम मेरे साथ फादर ओब्रायन टूर्नामेंट जो माउंटेन मेरी स्कूल में होता था, बड़ा दिल्ली सर्किट का बहुत मशहूर टूर्नामेंट होता था, उसमें चलोगे. और तो वहीं पर मैं 4 दिन मॉडर्न स्कूल में एक बहुत अच्छी वॉल है जहाँ पर हम वॉल प्रैक्टिस कर सकते थे, टेनिस कोर्ट के पीछे ही है. तो मैं वहाँ पर स्कूल के बाद रहकर बॉल मारता था वॉल पे, और फिर हम चले गए टूर्नामेंट खेलने, जहाँ पे मैं सेमीफाइनल पहुंचा. दिल्ली के काफी दिग्गज खिलाड़ियों को हराया था मैंने अपने रास्ते में, और उसके बाद मेरी टेनिस में रुचि बढ़ गई, और मुझे लगा कि मुझे टेनिस में थोड़ा सा और ध्यान देना चाहिए, और एकाएक करके क्रिकेट छूट गई और टेनिस में पूरा मन लग गया.
बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने कि मुझे याद है कि जब आप समर सर्किट खेला करते थे दिल्ली के अंदर में, और उस प्रकार के टूर्नामेंट्स जिसमें कि आप छोटे टूर्नामेंट होते थे, लेकिन आपकी लगन और आपकी जो उसकी तरफ नजरिया था खेलने का, वो एक बहुत बड़ा ख्वाब सा लेके चल रहे थे आप. जैसे दिखता था कि आप कभी टेनिस के ऊपर बहुत बड़ा उपलब्धि प्राप्त करेंगे, और आपने करी भी. डेविस कप खेले आप, लियांडर पेस के संग पार्टनरशिप हुई आपकी, एंड यू वन दैट मैच आल्सो इन दिल्ली. तो वो सब चीजें आपकी जर्नी थी जो जूनियर टू मेंस में आए, और मेंस में फिर डेविस कप में जो आपने प्रवेश किया, और आपके अच्छे सहपाठी दोस्त सब बने, और आपने उसको लेके चले, नेशनल में भी अच्छा खेले आप, इंटरनेशनल टूर्नामेंट्स अच्छे खेले. तो वो थोड़ा सा बताएं कि आपकी जर्नी में टूर्नामेंट्स के बारे में थोड़ा सा बारे में बताएं.
देखिए, आप जैसे सब जानते हैं कि टेनिस प्लेयर बनने की जर्नी बहुत लंबी होती है, और बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो रास्ते में ही छोड़ देते हैं, हार मान जाते हैं, या कुछ और हालात उनके ऐसे हो जाते हैं कि उनको टेनिस छोड़नी पड़ती है. पर मेरे दिमाग में सिर्फ एक ही लगन थी कि मुझे इंडिया के लिए खेलना है, इंडिया के लिए जीतना है. तो उस लगन से मैं खेलता रहा, बहुत सारे मैचेस हारा, बहुत पिटा भी, कुछ जीता भी, पर धीरे धीरे अपनी मेहनत कर करके मैं आगे बढ़ता रहा, और दिल में सर भारत के लिए जीतना है. तो वो जो सिंगल माइंडेड डिवोशन थी, मेरे ख्याल से वो मेरे सबसे ज्यादा काम आई, क्योंकि मेरे साथ खेलने वाले काफी टैलेंटेड खिलाड़ी थे जिन्होंने मेरे से पहले टेनिस छोड़ दी, पर मैं लगा रहा, अपनी ड्रीम को फॉलो करता रहा. और देखिए, ये रास्ता आसान नहीं है, इसमें बहुत मार खानी पड़ती है, पर जब भी आप मार खाएं और गिरें, फिर से उठिए और फिर अपने लक्ष्य की तरफ चलिए. वो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी चीज है, क्योंकि स्पेशली मॉडर्न डे टेनिस में हम लोग जब बड़े हो रहे थे, तब अगर आपने 17 या 18 साल की उम्र तक कुछ अचीव नहीं किया था, तो आपको सोचते थे कि आपका फ्यूचर नहीं है. लेकिन आज की डेट में वही 22-23 साल की उम्र हो गया है. अगर आप देखेंगे, जब हम खेलते थे तो जो 30 साल की उम्र में तो लोग रिटायर करने लग जाते थे, जो वर्ल्ड नंबर 1, वर्ल्ड नंबर 5 होते थे. आज की डेट में टॉप 10 जो है वर्ल्ड का, उनका एवरेज एज मिड 30s में है, तो वो भी 37, 38, 39 तक खेल रहे हैं. तो मेरे ख्याल से अगर आपको टेनिस में सफलता प्राप्त करनी है, तो आपको लंबी रेस का घोड़ा बनना पड़ेगा, और रास्ते में बहुत हार होगी, बहुत थोड़ी जीत भी होगी, लेकिन आपको पूरी मेहनत से लगे रहना है.
बहुत सही बोला विशाल आपने. आपका एक्सपीरियंस जो है, और आपका जो इस प्रकार की मैं बाउंडिंग देखता हूँ प्लेयर के संग में, या अक्सर जब आप टीम के संग बैठे होते हैं, आपका जो एक नजरिया है, जो अच्छे प्लानिंग है, जो अभी बात आपने की थी कि जब आपने अभी फेड कप के लिए गए थे, स्ट्रैटेजी आपकी जो थी बहुत ही उम्दा थी उस समय पर. अभी कह रहा था कि हम क्वालिफाई हुए, नहीं तो कहाँ हम लोग कभी क्वालिफाई होते थे। ये आपने जो काम किया था उस समय पर बहुत ही अच्छा किया था। मैं इसके साथ ही अपना रोहित का और विशाल उत्पल का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ कि आपने इस
Thank
समय
you.
अपना टाइम दिया और लॉन्ग टाइम पे जो फंसे पड़े हैं लोग अपनी जिंदगी में, आपने इस पल को अपने संग शेयर किया, लोगों के संग किया। ये एक बहुत अच्छी चीज थी। हम चाहेंगे फ्यूचर में भी ऐसा कुछ प्रोग्राम होता रहे और आप लोग हमारे संग बने रहे। थैंक यू सुरेश, यू
Thanks
कंटिन्यू
a
नाउ।
lot. Yeah, thank you, Nasir.
Thank you, Narsi.
Thank you, Narsi.
Just one question from the attendees. They want to know what are the challenges players face and how players overcame in the last Fed Cup. Vishal,
Sorry,
anonymous attendee is asking, what are the challenges players faced and how players overcame those challenges in the last Fed Cup?
Yeah, so as you know, the Fed Cup Asia Oceania format is quite it's very tiring. We had to play 5 countries in 5 days, and on most days our matches, every day our match started at 4 o'clock, and every night we finished our matches at 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock. So of course it's physically very draining. So the most important thing is to ensure going into the tournament you've preserved yourself physically. So one of the things I did was I made sure the players were well rested. We didn't have very extensive training hitting sessions when we reached Dubai. We were making sure we practiced predominantly at match timings, which was at 4 o'clock in the evening, and just put in 2-hour sessions to get used to the conditions. We staggered our practices to understand when what time a number 2 player will play at 4 o'clock. Conditions are different, and and what time a number 1 player will play at probably at 6 o'clock when conditions will be totally different under lights. So we staggered our practices like that to make sure they get more prepared with the kind of conditions they're likely to face in their particular matches. And other than that, I think the whole team came together really well. I have to give credit to each and every member of the team. Even during the match days, people you don't hear of like Ria or Sojanya, who work tirelessly hard practicing with Sanya, making sure Sanya is ready to play doubles if need be. So I think it was a beautiful way in which the entire team came together. Our physio, Anand Dubey, was working till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, after the players were done with their matches, helping them recover. The next morning, right after breakfast, again the matches. So, I think that was one of the best things that happened with this team. Of course, the girls, all of them were extremely hungry. They all worked hard, and it was a common dream, a common goal for all of us. And in the end, when our plans worked out, and we were able to achieve something historic, I think it was a very special feeling for everyone. And I think this should give women's tennis a big boost in India.
Yeah, I hope so too, because most of the girls are stopping when they're 15, 16. They play so well. They see the talent, and 15, 16, they just drop out.
Yeah,
because
we have to give them more opportunity. We have to give them a lot more opportunity.
Absolutely.
As long as we keep giving our players opportunities, we'll see more and more players come out of our systems, of our country, and do really well in the future.
Yeah. Totally agree, Vishal. Thanks a lot for both of you for taking your time out and being here and talking to the coaches. It has been a pleasure having you. And Vishal, we wanted to have a longer chat with you. You've been a player, now you're a coach. We could have connected up so many of your experiences here and, as an education for the coaches. But anyway, we'll try to have you again. If you have the time to join us one of these days, it'll be great.
Happy to be back whenever you guys want.
Thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank
Vishal.
you.
And thank you, Rohit. Yeah, thank you, Rohit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Himanshu, can you bring in Mr. Miguel Crespo and Mr. Jonathan Stubbs from the attendee list, please? Hi, Miguel. Miguel is here.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Oh, it's a pleasure having you. We are totally honored to have you here.
Thank you for your invitation. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
A very warm welcome to you, Miguel, from the All India Tennis Association. We are extremely proud to have you here. Very, very nice of you to have accepted our invitation. And we look forward to an absolutely amazing session, and a very warm welcome to Jonathan Stubbs also. I hope you can hear me, Jonathan. I think
you need
yes.
to unmute yourself.
You need to unmute yourself. We can see you now. Now you can hear us. Yes, great. So, Jonathan, I'm Vishwadeep here from the All India Tennis Association. A very warm welcome to you too. And we hand it over immediately to Suresh to take it forward. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, Vishwadeep. Miguel, to introduce Miguel, I don't think he needs any introduction. I think all of you who are attending here should know who Miguel Crespo is. All of you coaches have been going through courses, and you must be reading books. And most of the ITF publications, if you see, so many of them, Miguel has been a co-author of all these books in so many different fields, which is what is so amazing, in psychology, in fitness, in the coaches' manuals. Oh my God, it's unbelievable that one person can have so much knowledge that he could contribute to different fields and come up with so many books. And I think he's created history. I really don't know. I need to check this. Jonathan, we need to check this. I don't know of anybody else in the tennis field who's authored so many books in so many different fields. And that is not that's not the only achievement for Miguel. We had the pleasure of attending and having him as the tutor for us. And to have him as a tutor is like a blessing completely. The way he interacts with people, the way he allows questions, the way he gives you freedom, and the way he controls when he needs to control, it's just unbelievable. And so many things that I've learned as a coach, I've learned from him. You know, when somebody asked me a few days ago, who's your idol? And I mentioned it was Miguel Crespo. And I never thought he's going to be back here addressing us. Miguel, we are very happy to have you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Suresh. And well, I think with your introduction, if it's okay, we finish the presentation. Oh, just joking. Okay, so look, thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me well.
We can hear you totally.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. So well, first of all, I would like to thank AITA and especially Suresh for his invitation to be here with all of you. For me, it's a great pleasure. As Suresh was saying, I remember going to India a long time ago. I cannot remember how long ago, which is good, you know, which is very good, because then you will imagine how old I am already. But in India, working with Indian coaches, working with Indian tennis has always been very, very interesting, very grateful, and has always been an excellent experience. I think I have very good friends in India, and I think we've learned a lot from each other during the years that we've been working together, and we hope that the years to come. I would like to also thank Jonathan for his help on this presentation, and also for facilitating and for putting together also this opportunity to address you. And I would like to start with good news for all the Indian coaches, because at the moment I was checking just 1 second ago the entries and the registration for the ITF Academy. And I have some very good news. Just checking, very good news, because at the moment, India is the #1 country in the world in terms of coaches registered for the ITF Academy. So congratulations, a big hand to all the Indian colleagues. And well done. And we hope that we will have more and more Indian coaches using the academy and benefiting from continuous education, which at the end of the day is going to be the main topic of this presentation today. What I wanted to share with you is some reflections about coaching, some reflections about the different aspects, especially in these challenging times. Who could tell us that 3 months ago that we were going to be, all of us, stuck at home when we are used to go on court for 8 or 10 hours or 5 hours a day with our players in our clubs or in our facilities, nobody could, ever imagine that this would happen. But obviously, it has happened, and then it depends on us to see how do we react. And there are two options. One option is not to adapt, not to recognize the situation, and then not to accept what is going on, which would be a reaction that, maybe wouldn't be very smart from our side. The other option would be the option which, in my opinion, is the wisest one and the most convenient, is to adapt to the situation and to take it as if you were playing a tennis match or you were teaching a lesson. We know that tennis is a sport of emergencies. We know that tennis is an open sport, and we know that many things happen, and that the players and the coaches should always adapt at all times. So this is also a situation, life-threatening situation, but we can take it as a possibility to adapt ourselves. And from a coaching perspective, if you are a tennis coach, and one of the obstacles when we ask coaches, what do you think you should do? And some of them say, look, I would like to increase my knowledge. I would like to know more. And why don't you do that? And most of them, they say, look, because I have no time. I'm working 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. I'm coaching players. I am organizing tournaments. I am in the club, or I am here or there. I am in the school program, or I am, okay. In the past, you had an excuse. You have one excuse, that I have no time. I work a lot. I have no time for continuous professional development. Okay, very good. But what happens now? Now you are at home. Maybe you are busy doing other things, but we are sure that you have more time than before. And that's why we think that now is a great opportunity to simply start just, in your personal, individual process of improving your knowledge. And this is what is going to be this about. So the first idea is that India is #1 in the world, which is very good, in the coaches register. That is great. So congratulations. The second idea is that now you as a coach, you have time to improve yourself as a tennis coach. Now there is time. That's a fact. That's a fact. You have time. The third idea I wanted to share with you today is that because the ITF has recognized that, we are embarking in, maybe since I joined the ITF, the most important coaches education program of all, which is a digitalization program, which is a program that what we do is we are taking all the resources, all the knowledge, all the content we've created, and we are putting that in another platform, in another format, in a digital format that will be accessible to everyone. So for us, that is very important. Why? Because also the coaches, sometimes they were saying, oh, look, I cannot buy the books. They are very expensive. The shipment is not very good. Okay, now everything is at your fingertips. Everything is online. Everything is digital. So again, there's no excuse. So again, the third message is that now we are entering in coach education in a digital world. So what we are doing is that we are transferring the content from a hard copy to a digital copy, for a digital version. So what the ITF has done is has put together this ITF online academy that, as we say, more than 1,100 Indian coaches are already registered there, and we hope that more coaches will register as soon as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what we are doing and why it's important for the coaches to register. Why it's important for the coaches to register? because again, there's going to be a massive change when this situation finishes. When this COVID-19 finishes, the massive change is going to be that for anyone that would like to take a certification course with the ITF, or would like to take part in any regional coaches conference or worldwide coaches conference, the person will have to register in the academy. It will be mandatory. So no one will be able to attend an ITF course or to attend a regional coaches conference or a worldwide coaches conference without registering in the academy. The registration is free. We don't charge, but we want the coaches to register in the academy. So that is very important. That is why it's important to register, because it's going to be mandatory very soon. The second reason why it's important is because we are changing now the methodology of delivering the courses. In the past, what we were doing is we were using a face-to-face method only. So you as a candidate would come to a course, you would meet us, we would do the course there, deliver the course 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever, and then that was the course. Now, this is going to change. And in fact, we were ready to launch this new methodology last month, but unfortunately we couldn't. What is the name of this methodology? It is called blended learning. It's called blended learning. So blended learning courses from now on. And blended learning will have 2 parts. One part is the face-to-face. We're not going to change that. It would have the same teaching load, exactly the same. But the second part is going to be an online part. And that is why it's very important to be registered in the academy. Why? Because before, during, and after taking the courses, the candidates will have to complete several courses. And they will have to download the certificates of completion. That is why our advice is for everyone to try to take as many courses as possible now. Let me give you another reason, which maybe for some of you will be the most important. Is because at the moment, the courses are free. At the moment. We were not thinking of giving the courses for free. We were not. We were thinking of charging a little bit for each one of the courses. But because of the COVID-19, the ITF decided to offer for free to the coaches all the courses available in the ITF Academy. This will not happen in the future. In the future, when we will have more ability to see each other, when this situation will be over, some of the courses will have to be paid. The coaches will have to pay. So what we suggest you is that now that they are free, just go and take them. There is also another reason. Another reason, which is, in my opinion, the most important one, is because the courses are of high quality and will help to improve your knowledge and eventually will help you to deliver better lessons to your players. So those are all the reasons why it's important to take these courses. Then let me explain to you now how we've structured the academy. What we've done is, in the past, and some of you might be familiar with, we already had what we call a library. And the library was called Tennis iCoach. And it's still called iCoach. And that library was made of videos of presentations on court and also in the lecture room. It was also made of drills or interviews, or, for instance, articles in Coaches Review. So we had more than 3,000 pieces of content there. That library still exists and is called iCoach, and that is there. But what is new now is the education part, like the academy part. And this academy part, we've planned it in several phases. The first phase is what we call an education and an information phase. That means that, and this is already up and running, we are launching the courses. For your information, we are launching more or less 3 courses every week. 3 courses every week. And these courses are good for information and are good for education of the coach. You know? The second phase is the phase that we call certification. And this is what I was referring to before. The certification phase will start when we will be able to conduct face-to-face courses also. Because then some of the modules, some of the courses that exist now will also count towards your certification course. You will have to, mandatory. So that means that in order to get a certification, you will have to take some online courses, plus the face-to-face, and then pass some tests. The last part is what we call the continuous professional development, which is also up and running. Because what is the continual professional development? The continuous professional development is for those coaches who are already certified. But in the case that your federation is asking or your club is asking for a proof of your continuous professional development, of yourself being updated, of yourself taking some refresher content, these courses in the academy can help for that purpose. So you can take those courses as part of your continuous professional development also. So it's very important to understand that by putting together these courses, we are tackling all the different parts of what the coach needs. Let me also share with you now how we are going to present the information, because it's very important. For those of you who are familiar with the iCoach Academy, you might remember that that it has presentations, a 45-minute presentation, a 30-minute, a 1-hour presentation. And at that time, when the presentations were there, the mean view time for the coaches to watch was less than 5 minutes. So that would mean that for a 1-hour presentation, the coaches were only watching for 5 minutes. That's all they would go. So then that was a challenge for us, because we say, so what should we do? So then you have seen, if you've taken one of the ITF Academy courses, that the courses are very short. They are 20-minute courses. Why are they 20-minute courses? Because we think that this is the perfect length for the attention span of the person. With 20-minute length, there's no excuse not to take a course. You only need to focus during 20 minutes. And also you can stop and then continue the course later. That's the only thing you have to do. So we are not asking you to be there for 1 hour or 2 hours. No. It's just 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. That's the only thing you have to do. The only thing you have to do, just 20 minutes, and that's it. So the length is important. Why? Because at the moment, what we found out is one thing which is very interesting. As I was telling you before, in iCoach, with videos of 1.5 hours, or 1 hour, or 45 minutes, the mean attention view of the coaches was 5 minutes. In the academy, with 20-minute courses, we've managed to increase the time the coaches are in the academy up to 21 minutes. So that is very interesting. Why is very interesting? Because that means that the coaches really, are interested in doing these 20 minutes. Now let me tell you another thing. Another thing is about what is the goal of these courses. The goal of these courses is that we want to provide information, we want to provide education, we want them to be a part of the certification and a part of the continuous professional development. They are not to fail people. We do not want to frustrate people, we do not want to demotivate people. We want to keep the people there, motivated. We want actually for the people to be happy in the way they just improve and gain more knowledge. So how do we do that? Look, the way we do it is by not asking very difficult questions, by asking questions that, people can have a look at them, reflect a little bit, and then, but also the way we do that is by giving the people the possibility of retaking the questions. The goal is not to fail people. The goal is not to fail people. But what we do is at the beginning of every course, what we do is we just suggest the coaches to take a look at one of the articles, or maybe one of the books of the ITF, or maybe to this video in iCoach. That's what we are asking. Just have a look at that. Just have a look, and then, you will be able to understand better what is happening. Okay, so let me also tell you that this academy, because of the size and the importance of the project, is not something that it was. Is not something that we created from a couple of months until now. This is a project that we started 2 years ago. A project that started 2 years ago, and a project that what we are doing is that gradually increasing the content. So it's not something that we have launched because of COVID-19. This was already launched. What we are doing is we are increasing the content, increasing the service to the coaches because of the COVID-19. But also, there are other things which are, in my opinion, very important. The first one is that apart from giving these courses for free, the ITF made also a package to the coaches. The first part of the package included the free courses of the academy. They were not supposed to be free, some of them. Now all of them are free. So take the opportunity. Take the opportunity. I don't know what are you doing listening to me and not taking a course. Oh, just joking. Anyway, so take your opportunity and take as many courses as possible. Number two, the ITF has also offered for free the ITF Advanced Coaches Manual. Where? In the ITF ebook app. So in the ITF ebook app that you can download for free, in Apple and Android devices, there is an app with more than 150 publications in 7 different languages. You can download, not to your computer, to your mobile or to your tablet, you can download the ITF Advanced Coaches Manual, which is our bestseller that we were selling for $16 a copy. What did the ITF do? We give it for free to the coaches. It's been given for free in more than 12 languages. So that is another thing that we are giving to the coaches. And which is the third thing that we are doing? The third thing that we are doing is that you remember that I was telling you that the academy has 2 parts. One is the education part, which is the online courses, which are all for free. The other one is the iCoach part, which is where is the library, is where you have the videos, where you have the articles, where you have the drills. That part we've put for free 350 pieces of content. So now is, the coaches can have access to 350 pieces of content for free. Which is the content for free? You see, it has a lock, then the one that is unlocked, that content is for free. Before, the content had to be paid. Okay, so this is, I think, in my opinion, the way that the ITF has to help the coaches, providing better information, providing opportunities to improve. So, giving the ITF online courses for free. Second, giving the bestseller, the book, Advanced Coaches Manual, for free. And making free 350 content units, videos, articles, and drills. In fact, we have more than 800 articles for free also in the academy, in the iCoach. Okay, so these are, in my opinion, important things that the coaches should take advantage of. With everything that we are giving, with the time we have available, the fact that we are not going on court, it's just, it's just trying to, if possible, try to take this opportunity, advance in your own ongoing education, keep your certificates, because this will help to build your CV. That is very important. So we've spoken about the advantages of the academy for the coaches, but also it's important to understand that the quality of the content is very good. Why? Because, as you can see, at the moment we have more than 30 courses available. Courses for play tennis. Also courses for coaching beginner and intermediate, the level 1. But also we have courses for coaching advanced players and coaching high performance players. There is information there, new information. And I think that also it's important to understand that there are content put in three different modes, which you will immediately recognize, and we think is important that you try. The first one is the regular course. The regular course, it will take you 20 minutes, you get some information, you might get some videos, and you got some questions, and you have to just take the questions, okay? That is the more, let's say, traditional or regular course. Fine, no problem. But then there is another type of content, and it's the content that we call the Q's and A's. The Q's and A's is just a course with 10 questions. At the start of the course, it tells you, look, before taking this course, would you just check this information, just for your information, if you want, but it's not mandatory. You can go directly to the questions, and then you take the questions. Okay, so that's it. And the third type for us is very interesting. It's very interesting because is what we call the case study. And what is the case study? The case study is that something related to a situation. It's like a short story. It's a real story that happens in your daily coaching. And what happens? You get some questions. And then, you start like thinking about possible answers that you are giving there, and then you have to select an answer. And you select an answer and you get another question. So we think that this is an excellent idea to make the courses more practical. For us is very, I think personally, I think it's very important. So these 3 ways will also be included in the regular courses. Is something that is important for us to know. But also, I think it's important that we understand that these courses are not only for coaches. For instance, we have included also a course for tennis parents of beginner players. So what I recommend you is that you ask the parents of your players to take that course. Why is this? Because the ITF has already started a similar program for parents' education as we have for coaches' education. And this program has 3 levels. Coaches, parents of beginner and intermediate players, parents of advanced players, and parents of high-performance players. And this program has 2 parts. It's a blended learning program. The first part is an online 20-minute course. The first online 20-minute course for parents of beginner players is already online, and more than 1,000 parents worldwide, they've already taken that. So the parents should also register in the academy and take the course. Can the coaches take the course? Yes, it's not a problem. They can take it if they want. But this course is for parents, so it's very important. So then, in a couple of weeks, we're going to upload another course for parents of advanced players. Can any parent take that course? Yes, no problem. No problem. Anyone can take the course. But the important thing is that you take it. And then later in the year, we will upload the 3rd course. But what is happening is that at the same time, we will organize, because we were ready to organize, but we couldn't now, obviously, because of the situation, face-to-face 2-hour course with the parents at the different levels. So every level will be a 20-minute online course and a 2-hour face-to-face course. That is the thing. And the parents will have the certificate. They can download the certificate. The same for coaching advanced players, parenting advanced players, the level 2, and parenting high performance, the level 3. So the structure will be the same. So, which is my advice? Tell the parents of your players to take the course, because it's good information for them. It's good education for them. Maybe they already know that. Yeah, no problem. It's good to reinforce your knowledge. So that is something that in our opinion is very relevant. But also, for instance, for the first time, we have included information on Tennis Express, the program on how to coach senior beginner players, adult beginners. So you have a 20-minute course on the specifics of coaching adult beginner players. We've also put a course on coaching female players. That is very important. And also, for the first time ever, we've uploaded a course that we have created together with the Special Olympics, a course on working with players that have intellectual disabilities. That is a massive breakthrough. For us, it's very important. It's the same. We have already created a Q&A on blind tennis. So there are new topics that in the past were not part of the syllabi, and now they are. So the intention is not to reduce the face-to-face time. No, we're going to keep the face-to-face time. In fact, the intention is to increase the total load of the courses, to try, if possible, as much as possible, to try to increase the quality and the quantity of the courses that we are delivering. Apart from this, we have courses on things like notational analysis, which is tactical match analysis, which tactical strategy and stats. So that is very important because that's a new topic, And also many topics on sports sciences, physiology, coordination, injury prevention, burnout. So there are many topics on psychology, conditioning, tactics, biomechanics, etc. Also, we've got in marketing. So the variety of content, in our opinion, is pretty, it's pretty wide, and it would be interesting for the coaches. So again, that is the message. The message is that as much as possible, it's the right time now to take these courses, and it's the right time to continue in improving yourself as coaches, because we know that coaches learn in different ways. You learn by taking certification courses, but also you learn by watching tennis matches, and you learn by talking to other colleagues, and you learn by sharing experience, as we are doing now. So there are different ways of learning, and we have to be open to the different ways. And also we have to take advantage of technology. In this case, technology is helping us a lot. What would we do without technology at the moment? We would be in big trouble. So we have to use technology wisely. We have to use technology to our advantage, and always with the same goal, trying to improve our knowledge in order to improve the knowledge of the players, in order to improve the level of play of the players, in order to improve the satisfaction of the players. So this presentation is a call to action. It's a call to action because another important message that I would like to share with you is that we as coaches, we are teachers. We teach tennis. We teach tennis. And we have learners. But at the same time, we are learners, because every single time that we are delivering a tennis session, it's not that the player is learning from us. It's that we are also learning from the players. So our acceptance that we will never finish learning is very important. And this is something that we need to have in our brain. We should keep learning all the time. And we should take every opportunity to continue learning. If we want to take these courses and we want to use them to improve our knowledge and also to improve our CV for professional development, this is very important. If we would like to share it with our colleagues, this call to action is, I have to take more courses, all the courses. Once I've taken all the courses, I have to try to find more information in the iCoach or wherever I go. But also I have to tell my colleagues. I have to tell the parents of the players. I have to tell people if they are interested in tennis. We have some courses that can be taken by anyone. How much do I know about tennis? It's one of our top courses. It's not only for coaches. Anyone can take them. So it's important for us, if we have people working for us, let's say that I am the director of a tennis program in a club or in a facility. I want all my coaches to be updated as much as possible. And I'm going to tell them that they have to show me the diplomas of the courses they've completed. Because then by doing that, I will check if they are up to date or not. But also, the ITF Academy can help me as a club director, or even if I'm not a coach. Because one thing I can do is I can say, look, you guys as coaches, if I am a general manager, you have to take these courses. And then we set up maybe an online discussion about this course or this topic. We take an article, we take a video, and then we discuss what this expert is saying, this or that. So that is why the Academy has multiple ramifications. It can be used by anyone to improve this continuous professional development. But also, I think it's very important to recognize that the academy can also obviously be used by the national federation in order to have a database of the coaches registered. We do have some data on the number of coaches who are registered. But obviously, there is something which is true, is that not all the coaches working are registered. Even not all the coaches working have a certification. And that, in my opinion, is not acceptable. So all the coaches should be registered, but all the coaches should be certified. And this is the job of the ITF, and this is the job also of the federation. But also, this is the job of the head coach of a program. And this is the job of every single coach to tell the other guy, hey, you have to be registered. Hey, you need to have a certification. Because this will help, again, to achieve one thing which is very important: respect. The respect of our profession. What for? Not to gain our personal respect, but to show that we respect our players by improving the aspect, let's say, crucial in our coaching, which is that the player is at the center of the coaching process. It's at the center. So that is the most important thing for us. That is why, because we respect the player, we need to improve as coaches. We cannot stop learning. We need to continue all the time improving. So if I am a club director, if I am a club owner, if I am a manager, if I'm a federation official, I need to try to have as many data of my coaches as possible in order to know where they stand, where they are, everything. You know, it's very, very important. So I think that now talking a little bit more about the characteristics of the academy, the academy is now available in 4 languages. Is in English, French, and Spanish, because these 3 languages are the official languages of the ITF. Then the next language is Portuguese, and we are thinking of producing that in other languages. Well, that depends in which languages are we going to produce. And I see here a question from my very, very good friend Kawaljit Singh about the courses in Hindi. Well, what happens is that everything depends a lot on the ability of the nations to provide provide the documents translated in the languages. You know, we have been working very closely with the Brazilian Federation and with the Portuguese Federation, and they are providing us all the content in Portuguese. Also working with the Russian Federation, with some federations that they speak Arabic. So this is maybe one thing that we can talk separately and see how we can work on that. But that is the idea. So I think it would be very important that the nations and the coaches they work on that in that direction. That would be very, very, very important. And I think, as I said, we are very committed to the academy. We are now entering in a new era, in the era of digital services, in the era of blended courses, in the era of increasing the quality, because we are offering new content. And new content, which in my opinion is very important to stress, is research-based, is evidence-based. Let me share with you one thing that I have the impression that has changed during the last maybe 5 years or 10 years. And is everything related to tactics and strategy. And that has made us change a lot, which is the issue of how data management has improved, has increased the amount of information in tactics. And in the past, our tactics courses were more, okay, what this coach thinks and what this expert thinks and what this player thinks. And with the use of data, we had to change the content of our tactics courses. Now, all the data of the tactics courses, all the content of the tactics is based on data, is based on research. The same that in the past, we did that with biomechanics. In the past, in biomechanics, it was more, oh, we think that the shot should be like this or like that, until we started working with Bruce Elliott, with Makar, and with other biomechanists, and say, look, this is a biomechanical analysis. This is what it is. These are facts. This is not opinion. And the same is happening with conditioning. The same is happening with strategy and tactics, and the same is happening with psychology. So the content of the courses, gradually, the content of the courses is more something that is related to sports science and is evidence-based. So for us, that is very, very, very important, from our, at least from our perspective. But again, as I was saying, it's not a matter only of quality. It's a matter of also quantity. Why? Because we're going to increase the teaching load of the courses. We're going to keep the face-to-face, the length of the face-to-face, and we're going to put on top the online courses. So now the courses will be longer. They will be longer. So they will imply the coach to be, facing longer hours to take the course. And we think that is going to be better. Why? Because that will mean that this will show that the coaches have a commitment. They have a commitment in order to actually move forward and improve their knowledge and improve their abilities and their competencies. So I think this is what I wanted to share with you. I was planning for a 45-minute intervention, and maybe is Suresh or someone else or Jonathan, they would like also to make some comments or to ask some questions or whatever on this topic of the academy, on the topic of continuous professional development, on the issue of the importance of how the coaches have to improve. In my opinion, this is something that I've been trying all my life to also to apply to myself. Never stop learning, never stop adapting, never stop gathering more information, and never stop being able to improve in order to help the players, or the coaches. I think that is something that is very, in my opinion, is very, very relevant and very important. So again, it's a great pleasure. It's a great honor, and I'm very happy with all the different advancements that we've seen in tennis in India, but more specifically in coaches education in India. I think that the different people and colleagues which throughout the years have been in charge of the coaches education program in India, they have done an excellent job. I hope that this will continue. I think this type of events are a great opportunity to reinforce that idea, to strengthen the coaches education program of a nation, and actually is something that in my opinion will revert into increasing not only the ranking of the Indian players, which is very important, but one thing that in my opinion has even more importance, which is increasing the number of people that play tennis in India, in Asia, and worldwide. So for me, that is very, very important. So again, thank you very much, and happy in this last 10 minutes to take, if needed, any questions, and if not, more than happy to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for the presentation, Miguel. As usual, it was the flow was so good, and you gave us so much information about the continuous education for coaches. And this is one thing that I think is so important for all our coaches to do, for the entire the quality of tennis in the country to go up. It starts from here. Yeah. So we have a question from Kavaljit. One more question. He's asking, generally all the coaches in India are asking this question. Our level 4 is equivalent to the ITF level 1. We have a beginner course and the intermediate, and intermediate is level 4 for us, the ITF level 4, which is equivalent to the ITF level 1. And then because we have the silver badge now, we are allowed to use the ITF logo on the certificate along with the AIT logo. Now they want to know, is this certificate valid worldwide? Anywhere you go, will it be equivalent to an ITF level 1?
Okay, so this is a very good question. So let me tell you how that works. There are other nations that also have different levels of recognition by the ITF. Let's take an example like, let's say example that could be Spain, could be Italy, could be the UK, some of the nations, and you can check the list of the nations in the ITF website. So what happens is that when two nations have the similar recognition level, that means that one coach can ask at least for a recognition of the contents the person has taken in his home country. And then it's up to the nation to decide if they fully recognize it or not. Usually they never recognize that fully, and I'll tell you why. For instance, if you take one example of France or Italy or Spain or the UK, in the different levels, there are two types of content. The content in some cases is tennis-specific content, and there is another content which is like a sports science or sometimes a sport administration specific content. So what happens is that in India, you might have your content, whichever content it is, and then if you would like to travel to another nation and say, look, I want a full recognition, well, the federation is going to tell you, I'm sorry, there are several contents that you haven't finished. And that happens not only in tennis, that happens in pretty much in all walks of life. If you have let's say, I don't know, a certificate or a degree in, I don't know, could be architecture or law or whatever in one country, if you go to another country, they might tell you, yeah, well, you've done this type of subject, but there are these other subjects still pending. So you're not going to get full recognition. What you might get, and that depends on the nations, you might get partial recognition of the contents you have already taken. The partial recognition depends also on which resources you've used. For instance, that is why it's important to use the ITF resources if the other country also uses the ITF resources. So the good news is that at least the ITF is helping to try to recognize different systems, but the full recognition depends on the countries themselves, and you can apply it also to India. If someone comes from another country in Asia and says, look, I am a level 2 coach, a level 2 ITF, well, first of all, you will say, look, let me check what you've done. Okay. And then maybe if in India you are taking, I don't know, a special module of, I don't know, the Indian Institute of Sports or whatever, well, then this person will have to take those modules. And obviously the recognition will not be full recognition. Why? Because most of the things depend on government agreement. Not only is the federation the one that takes that. So in short, it will not be full recognition. It can be partial recognition. It always depends on the nation.
Okay. But several countries, they don't have this as this is not a compulsory thing that you need to, even in India, it is not compulsory for you to have a coach's certification to teach.
Yes.
Now, so when you have this thing, it's up to the employer and not the federation, right, to recognize the certification.
Yes. Yeah. Well, what happens is that unfortunately for us, the fact that having a mandatory certification is not something that applies in many countries in the world. So that is one thing that we need to work, as much as possible in order to try that all the countries and all the federations they obviously support that. But so far that depends at the moment on the employer. It's true. Yes.
Okay. Now our Hemant Bendre, he has a question for you. Any long-term courses for players like WTA has athlete development course?
Yes. Well, in fact, the ITF has some courses for junior players in the ITF knowledge section. So there are, and yes, what is happening is that we are going gradually, and as you can see, 90% of the content in the academy now is coaches, directed to coaches. Now we have started putting some content for parents, and also as soon as we can, we will also start putting content for players. Yes, for players of all ages, junior players and also professional players. Yes.
Okay, so it's another one which I don't know. It's a very big confusion. I've had this question asked by many people, so I think you need to clarify that from you. I think even if we state it doesn't count. The certification that is being offered on the on the ITF Academy, they want to know what level it is. As in, they are considering this as some certification they can use for employment.
Yes. Well, the fact is, as I was saying, at the moment, what is there is not a certification. The only thing is short 20-minute courses. That is in the future, when this situation finishes, it will be part of a certification. But at the moment, they are for information and education purposes. So when you are part of the course, then everything will add up. Why? Because without an encore test, there's no possible to have any certification.
Okay. Miguel, you are also part of participation. You're the head of participation in the ITF.
Yes.
Even though this is a coaches forum, in India, the participation has gone up many-fold because of the coaches. Many coaches have taken up the courses and they've started coaching centers, and the participation has increased.
Yes.
But participation per se, can you give us some ideas of how to increase this participation in the country, or at least the ideas for the coaches?
Well, I think what happens is that we define participation by saying that anyone that plays tennis at least once a year is a tennis player. So and anyone that does not take part on, let's say, official competitions that are related to rankings, or or they play for competitive purposes, they are part of participation. And that is, and what we found out is that is pretty much 95% of the people that play tennis in the world. And what is happening in many cases, we as coaches, we only devote to the people that are competitive oriented, and we forget about the other ones. And that is what we are trying to also convince the coaches, that the big numbers are in the participation, these big groups of people. That's where the big numbers are, and that's where actually we want to make a big effort. And that is why we are not saying that you have to forget about the top players and the good juniors. They are very important, but also we must look after very well to this big group of people that just play tennis and maybe they play once a month or whatever, because those are the future. Those are the future.
Okay, we have a Devinder Singh Busari. This coach has been doing a fantastic job in conducting a lot of meditation classes online and stuff like that in this period. He wants to know if you'll conduct a level 3 course in India in the near future.
Well, I think that depends also on the AITA. So we can talk and see if well, I don't know what is going to happen this year, if I have to be honest with you, but we can talk about that with Jonathan to try to do something in the region. So maybe that is one option. So happy to discuss that with Jonathan and with you, Suresh, and then we'll see how. But I'm not sure this year. Let's see.
Yeah, this year is going to be difficult for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, your prediction on the tennis, when tennis will be revived? I mean, it's just your opinion, but what do you think is going to happen?
I think it's very complicated because, for instance, especially if you look at from a worldwide perspective, in some countries in Europe already, people are playing with a lot of, with a lot of restrictions, but they are playing. Some countries have already said when they're gonna start again, and other countries are completely, the clubs and the tennis facilities and the sports facilities are completely locked down. So I think it's gonna be complicated, because I don't think this is gonna happen at the same time everywhere. But one thing I'm sure is that we have to be ready, and we have to be ready to start anytime. So, but it's going to be gradual. That's going to be gradual, and it's not going to be the same everywhere.
Okay.
Excellent.
It's 4:30 and your time is up. I know you're very busy.
Okay.
And,
okay. Look, thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Jonathan. Jonathan, can you switch on your video and come in, please?
Yes. Thanks, Suresh. Fantastic. Thank you, Miguel, also for such a fantastic update on the academy and all the courses.
Yeah.
So Suresh, thank you so much for organizing. I think that you guys are doing an amazing job. You're doing this every day. So, congratulations to you. And I know you've had a series of fantastic panelists and speakers, and it's just it's very good to be part of it. And it's very good to see that India is leading the way. Not only, as Miguel said, India is the number 1 nation in the world as of now. I think I have inside information that you're 24 ahead of the next nation. So, a little bit of more push from you, Suresh, and your friends at AITA to stay ahead. But I think that, you have a golden opportunity, and there are so many interesting questions and aspects to tennis in India, and such a fabulous history of tennis in the nation, that you're one of the leaders in Asia, and always have been and always will be. And it's quite important to lead from the front. So, some of those things that were discussed or brought up on not just the academy, but also on the level 2, level 3 courses and so on and so forth. As Miguel said, these things can be talked about and discussed, and it really just depends a little bit on the National Association, or in your case, AITA, and also the number of participants, the number of candidates that are available. It's all very doable. It's just right now we can't talk about what we can and can't do, because we're all here on video screen on a lockdown. So it's a bit frustrating, but as Miguel said, it's very important to look forward. These are also opportunities for growth and change. And I think that, when we come out of it, and as Miguel also said, we are tracking what's happening with a lot of the nations, and I've tracked every single nation in my region, and in some of them, they are playing tennis now. So things are opening up gradually. I think Miguel is correct that things will be individual nation based, and the travel between countries will still be difficult. But internally within one country, it should certainly be possible to organize some events and some activities, and hopefully that there'll be a lot more coming in India.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jonathan, and thanks once again, Miguel, for
thank you
accepting our invitation and coming here for us. I know you're very, very busy. Thank you for taking time out.
Take care.
Yeah.
Take care, and look, my best wishes to all of you. Stay safe. Thank you. Take care.
You too, Miguel.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Himanshu, can you add Kawaljeet Singh to the panelists, please? And can you also add Gary O'Brien to the panelists, please? Himanshu? Narsingh, can you switch on your video?
Suresh, sorry, I'm very inexperienced with this stuff. So did you want me to stay online, or you want to make a private thing?
Yeah,
now?
you can. No, you can stay here for some the discussions, and people can. I'll ask the people to. They can ask some other general questions apart from this, and we can, as panelists, we could address those questions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the attendees, you can start typing out questions now. That Jonathan is here, and he was one of the top coaches. He was, in fact, they had a high performance center in Bangalore along with Balu, and they had it here for a few years before he shifted to Spain. And Prajnesh was one of his students along with Balu, who was training in that place. And Prajnesh shifted to Spain along with Jonathan and was training with him for a few more years. Yeah. And now he's a top, he hit the top 100 just recently, and I'm sure he's going to get back there. So we have a phenomenal coach in Jonathan, so many years of experience. Now he's a development officer for the Asia Pacific.
So it's a mouthful, Suresh. It's South, Southeast, and East Asia. I always have when I introduce myself at conferences and stuff that just doesn't roll off the tongue. It's just, unfortunately, we have 5 sub-regions in Asia. We have Western Central Asia, which is covered by my colleague Amir Borgay.
Okay.
I'm based in Iran, and then I cover the other 3 sub-regions, which is South, Southeast, and East Asia.
Okay. So, yeah, let me repeat that. South, Southeast, and East Asia Development Officer for the International Tennis Federation. So, some guy, his name is Guy. He's asking, will large group lessons be possible post COVID-19? Jonathan, do you want to answer that, because you are
I can tell you, for example, some of the nations that I'm dealing with, because I cover everything from South Asia, which is Maldives, India, all the way across to Korea in East Asia.
Mhm.
And one example is Hong Kong, which is opening up, I think, their public courts, I think the day after tomorrow. And they've mandated that they can't have more than 4 players on a court.
Okay.
So this is to prevent group lessons. So they're trying to, at the moment in Hong Kong, the current rule is 4 people can be together. But I think that this week they're going to relax that to 8. So it's possible that they could change. So this is where things are very individually based on different nations. That Chinese Taipei has not had any lockdown. Korea had no lockdown. Japan is, a little bit difficult. Hong Kong, Singapore, each of these nations have very different rules. And it just depends on the situation that they're facing in that particular nation. But certainly there is some play going on.
Okay. So the attendees, the coaches, you can type in questions from any field. It doesn't have to be restricted to, the presentation today. It could be on other aspects like technique, physical, mental, or the previous presentations that you had. You can ask some questions, and we'll see if we can address it, to whatever we can. So Preeti Srinivasan is asking, I think you should take this, Jonathan. Could you please talk about what you think are the immediate changes that you foresee happening regarding tennis after COVID-19?
Yes, I think we're going to have to get used to new normals. As I said, in Hong Kong, for example, they're allowed to play with up to 4 people on the court, which is obviously doubles. But in terms of lessons, there could be 8 people or 10 people on a court. I think that the initial first things would be distance. I don't think that's going to change. The hand washing and the sanitizers and stuff on the court will be probably different. ITF has sent out a list of, we're having this project right now, which we call Return to Tennis. And the Return to Tennis project is as what I'm doing and all the other development officers are doing. We're checking with every single nation. So in case of India, Suresh, I discussed with you, what is the current status for COVID-19? What's the status of the lockdown? What's the status of events? Are any events going to come up soon? What about programs? And so on and so forth. And there have been a series of guidelines which have been issued by ITF, which we can share. It's been sent to all the federations around the world with a series of guidelines which have been based on WHO guidelines and so on and so forth, which are now has now been sent out. I think it was 3 days ago. Was sent out by ITF to all of the nations in the world, and it's Return to Tennis guidelines. So it lists all the things that are suggestions. For example, what to do with ball boys, what to do with changeovers, handshakes. So I think that it's probably best to just check that document because it's quite long. There's quite a lot of protocols that are in there, and it really it's really referring to competition. So I think that it's a bit long for this, but I think it would probably be good if we could share it with your participants.
Yeah. So there's another question from Yatat V. Bharadwaj. How to train a player mentally in this lockdown? What exercises will be helpful? You want me to take it?
Yeah, I think I think you're the expert in this one.
Well,
Oh, Balu. Where's
yeah,
Balu? Is Balu here?
Balu is not here. He's not here.
Oh, he took the day off, is it?
I don't know. Yeah, he's still mad at me. Okay,
Well, if
so
he's not, don't worry, I'll talk to him.
yeah. So Yathat, the thing is like this is a good opportunity for you to do the goal setting with your player. You could sit down and then chart out the long term, mid term, short term, and the goals that you would want to, the outcome goals. And then you could also do a, from the analysis that you had of the player, you could do a, analysis on paper on what are the things that the player needs to work on and things like that, and set the goals ahead for the next 2 or 3 months. And you could also talk to the players about things like building confidence on court, like self-talk, and you can do some visualization exercises, and you can talk to them about momentum changes, all the intricacies of momentum changes, how to create momentum, how to change momentum, all these aspects. Yes. There's another question from Jay Tandon. Sir, I have seen many players in their early teens doing good and winning a lot of matches, but as soon as they reach the men's circuit, they do not have the same winning percentage. What changes and how can a coach tackle this when they are training a potential player? You want to take it, Jonathan?
Well, that's a very complicated question because it really depends. In the words of our old good friend Dave Miley, you probably remember from his presentation last year in Hong Kong, the regional coaches conference, it depends. It depends on the player. I think that in many things that I would probably say, particularly referring to India, would be probably on the physical level. The physical level, probably a lot of Asian players have probably, at least this is my opinion, have focused too much on junior success and didn't make the transition early enough to seniors. And I think in my mind, this is a mistake because the tennis in the seniors is very different physically and mentally, and particularly physically, it's very intense, very, the physical capacities are very, very different. So I think that's probably one aspect. I think the question is that the players had good success in juniors and then they haven't transitioned well. Physical is a big thing. And I think if you look at Europe, your experience in Europe, Suresh, very well, the players in Europe are a little bit different, like with the clay courts. It's not just clay, but it's the ability to sustain much more intensity for much more longer periods of time. That also affects the mentality of the player, and I think that is probably quite a key difference.
Okay, so there's another question. I think you already answered it from Swapni Iyengar. As you worked with Prajnesh, so my question is, what major difference you think it is between Indian and European players? I think you just answered it.
Yes, well, I did. I think I did. I mean, because in the case of Prajnesh, at least I have some experience. I can answer that. I think that Prajnesh can probably answer for himself probably better, but mentally he was always very intense. He always wanted to win. I think that's something that was quite apparent when he first came to Spain when he was 14, and he was a skinny kid. And I remember one of his first matches, we took him to some local tournament, and he was just like, come on, and like shouting in the face of this huge Spanish player. And I was like, oh, I'm worried he's going to get into a fight. But he was so intense, and, but, physically he wasn't capable. And I think then this is where the physicality started to take place over the next couple of years. I think you've had a lot of conversations with Christian and Balu about this. They could probably answer better. But, he started to fill out and started to become bigger. And then, gradually he started to become a very good player very quickly. And then I remember I took him to north of Spain and we played a $15,000 event. And then he got his first points, qualified, and then reached the quarterfinals, as I recall. And then, he was off to the races. But I think you said it, Suresh. I think the big difference was physicality.
Yeah, I totally agree. But there are a lot of tenets which claim that if you go through the developmental stages, of course, the immediate parents give you, the genes, and if they have been active in some sport, you're going to get it. But people are claiming that it doesn't have to do anything with race, and it has to do developmental things that you've done right from the age of 2 or 3. So when you go through these things, then at a later stage you see that you can get to that level.
Well, for me, I would probably disagree. I think that what you do at 2 or 3 probably has very little difference, except obviously maybe some coordination stuff or some stuff, you know, when you're playing with the larger balls, you know, those sorts of things which help sort of the gross motor skills and stuff. That's going to help. But if you look at Indian players, I think of all the Indian players I ever worked with, there was only one. I'll give you an example. There was only one who didn't have good hands. And Indian players are, you know, well known for hands. And there was only one kid I ever worked with who, you know, couldn't volley or, you know, had no ability with hands. And I know you'll relate to that as an Indian. And I know it's all spin bowling and all the cricket sort of skills and stuff that you have there. Right? Skill is never a problem in Asia. If you look at the players in Thailand, the players take the ball very early, play very straight. India, you know, amazing talent. I mean, the players coming out of India, China, the players are physically incredible muscles and elasticity is just unbelievable. But I think the difference is to go back to the previous questions, the duration of rallies is sometimes longer than what we see in statistics. Sometimes it can be quite long. And, you know, if you're playing 150 points at quite a high intensity, it's, you know, you got to do it the next day. It's, you know, you have to be able to recover. You got to do all the other things. And that, again, it comes down to training. I think if the training is appropriate and correct. Last year I worked with, there's a couple of under 14 players from India, Pari Singh. There was a couple of other players. I forget the names right now, but I know they'll be upset with me. I know Gary is on screen. He remembers them very well. You know, amazing ability. Hi, Gary, by the way. Amazing ability.
Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you.
Great to see you too. You know, the players in India are amazing ability. The thing that was probably a little bit weak, probably Suresh, Gary, I mean, you'll have your own opinion. Maybe some tactical stuff was probably a little bit missing, some tactical stuff. Maybe duration of training was a little bit of a problem. Like, you know, the typical thing in India, and I don't want to be critical, I don't mean it in a critical way. Like, if you took one of the players that came to our camp last year, she was training 6 hours a day. I mean, this is just too long. You know, do a little bit of training in the morning and then go to school and then come back, do another few hours. And then after that, you study your homework, and it's just too much. And I've been a bigger proponent of training a little bit more intense, you know, shorter. But players who are quite young can't train with that intensity level. You know, it takes time to build up to that intensity level. So I remember we had a discussion with this particular player and her parents and wrote in the report that she should probably reduce her training by half and focus on trying to do things in a more explosive way. So example would be for female tennis, we know that they should pick up a little bit earlier, especially at returns, and be more aggressive and try to learn how to be more decisive. And to do that is intense, right? So you can't do that if you're tired. You can't take a ball early and go for it and try to define the point on a return of serve if you are exhausted. So this would probably be quite a good example that I would use, Suresh, to explain. Okay. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, totally. So we have another question, very interesting. Suresh sir, ball machines have been of use outside India and seemingly successful. I do not see it being used in our country much. As coaches, I feel that maybe a ball feeding machine definitely helps in practicing. This cost also formidable. Are there? Okay, so basically he's asking about ball machines. Gary and Kawaljeet is also here for the first time.
Hi everybody. Yeah, and
good to have you. Good to see you.
Same here. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're very lucky to have Miguel and Jonathan today.
Yeah.
Well, I think regarding, can I answer this? Can I answer this? Okay. I think ball machines is right that most of the time the people in abroad, they use more, but in India also many people use, but probably the balls, you know, they consume the fur of the ball goes very quickly. So the balls are very expensive in India, you know, like to really use ball machine, you really need to have very good quality of balls, and the balls doesn't last too much. but it's a good idea. But nowadays the manpower is also there. We need feeding. We have people to feed the different coaches. They can feed them, and also it's expensive to have balls machines in India. In compared to the people abroad they buy, but here it is not less than 2.5 or 3 lakh rupees, which is one of the reasons that probably we're not using too many ball machines.
Right. Jonathan, do you have a view on that, on the ball machines being used? Because I always felt personally that a person feeding, a guy who knows how to feed, a ball machine can never replicate that, especially when you're playing with higher and higher levels.
Yes, and I apologize. I just realized I forgot to put my AirPods in, so I apologize if no one heard me. Yes, I mean, I think that the ball machines have a certain place if you or basket feeding is sometimes very useful, but it's not tennis. And so if you look, for example, at the play tennis course where we start right at the beginning with red, orange, and green for players of any ages and levels, from wheelchair tennis to kids or adults, is that we try to get them to be able to serve, rally, and score from the first lesson. And there's a reason for that, is that that's the game. So if you were to take, if let's say I had one person came to you in the street and said, oh, I've watched tennis on TV, I want to play tennis. So would you take that person and then focus only on improving the forehand or the backhand? Or would you want them to start to play, which is whether it's throwing the ball over the net or doing a little poppy thing and a rally, which can be rolling the ball on the ground, rally, and scoring is 1, 2, and 3. Would you want them to do that, which is to learn about actual tennis, which is a serve, rally, and a score? Or would you want, again, to focus only on making the technique as perfect as possible? Because we know the technique in a particular situation is different from a technique in another situation, like a return of serve is different from a forehand, a topspin lob. So, there's arguments on either side. I liked basket when I was in Spain training. We did a lot of basket drills, but I think we did basket drills for physical capacity. So I remember when a lot of players came over from Calcutta, these guys came over from Chennai to Barcelona, and we did quite a lot. I remember doing like a shopping trolley. I did it in Hong Kong as well, but I did it we put the heart rate monitor on. So we did it for like longer duration for lower intensity. So the heart rate was lower, but we did it for longer duration. But we did it for specific reason of trying to train a player to get a better physical capacity, but without having to go off and do another hour of physical training outside, because the time that they had was less. They only had 2 hours of training time and they have to do other stuff. So if you're also short on time, it's quite good to integrate the training and try to do a little bit more physical stuff. But I think, simple answer is players should play tennis as soon as possible. And tennis is playing.
Yeah, I agree with
I like baskets. I like being a ball machine, but it's good if there's an isolated situation, you really want to practice 100 forehand volleys. Yeah, great, go for it. Why not? You want to practice one specific thing, but it's not tennis. So tennis is things are happening. You have to make decisions. Decisions is tactics, right? So where does that come in?
Absolutely.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. Guru and Kawal, I agree with you also for,
but I think
the balls
it
get
is
stuck and, if it is not new and the ball machine doesn't.
It's only on India. I mean, I will say it's particularly in India.
Okay. There's a question from, you want to say something, Gary?
Yeah, please. Sorry. Yeah. I think it's, as Jonathan said, sometimes it's a little unrealistic to use the ball machine, because it's just it's like a program. It just programs you to hit just one type of shot. Yeah, of course you can adjust the speed and the height and all, but then it just comes at you at one pace, one speed, one spot. I think that's the key factor. It comes to you at that one same spot, and that actually never happens when you actually play the game of tennis.
Yeah,
because you never hit the same ball twice.
You work only on projection skills. Okay, so there's another question from Kiran Desiga Ramachandra. This coach has been doing a phenomenal job in the Telangana state. He's asking, can we make the coaching, all the coaches who are teaching, to have compulsorily a certificate? Is there any country which has made it compulsory, Jonathan?
I know countries have tried. I'm not sure if it's, Miguel would know answer this better than me. I think he knows more about this subject than I do. There are restriction of trade rules. So for example, in Europe, you can't prevent someone from legally working. So if someone comes up and says, I'm the coach, then, you know, you can't stop someone from working. But what you can do is, like what India is doing, is with the licensing scheme. And I know Hong Kong, when I worked in Hong Kong, we tried to make sure that all the coaches would, you know, uphold the license. But I think this is quite a long topic. It's probably something that we probably have an internal chat about, how to improve it. But certainly I think that, to give you one example, I had a chat with a nation the other day, and they were doing a workshop for Orange Ball workshop, and it was only 30 people could attend. So the problem is that if you've got 300 coaches in that country and only 30 people can attend that workshop, then you've got 270 people who don't have access to that workshop. So my question to them is, well, what are you going to do are you going to do the workshop several times a year? Because you want your coaches to have access to that stuff. Because if you don't do that, you also are opening up the problem that coaches won't want to be licensed because it's too difficult. So you need to have an open door policy to try to make it more easier. So like Kawaljeet said earlier, something about translation. So for example, the translation of materials, is that important? Is doing workshops in their language, is that important? You know, that's something that every nation has to figure out. But certainly my approach would be to try to open the door and try to bring people in, as opposed to saying, well, if you don't have our license, then you can't coach. You know, if we make it easier for them to have a license, I'm not saying easier to maintain, but I think that, you know, they need to, you know, do some activities, you know, CPDs and stuff, but you don't want to exclude, you know? So if you take our example, play tennis course, you have to be 16. So you have to be minimum 16 before you can take the play tennis course. Why? Because you probably shouldn't be working if you're 15 or 14. So, you know, not a good thing, not a good example to set, but, you know, and then, you know, you can start a career. But I think it's very important, as you guys know, your tutors in India, you know, you have massive experience. You know, it's very important to train your coaches, and it's very important to try to ensure that all the coaches that are working have a license and have a qualification. You know, whether you do recognition of different qualifications, whether that's USPTA, PTR, there's GPTCA, I think a couple of others out there. You know, ITF is the governing body of tennis. So what we have is we have a syllabi which is adopted by practically all the nations, and it's a standard. It's a standard. But as Miguel was saying, you could go to Holland or you go to France and they'll say, well, you've done 80 hours with your level 3, but here we have 1,000 hours. And Kawaljeet knows this very well because he's on the coaches commission. So it's complicated subject, and every nation, as Miguel said, it may have its own rules.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Yeah, I'm going off topic a little bit, but it's such a big topic.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's hard to discuss.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, John.
We have to wind up now because the Sports Authority of India, they have another session starting at 5 o'clock. So we need to sign off now. And thanks a lot for Kawal joining us.
Thank you very much.
Having you after all these days. You know, first time coming in. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye, Nassim.
Yeah, thank you.
Jonathan.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Great job, everybody. Keep it up.
Jonathan, thank you for coming on and spending all this time with us. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You know I'm available anytime.
Jonathan,
Thanks.
great to see you.
Keep up the hard work, guys. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
All the attendees, tomorrow, we're going to have a big surprise for you. We're going to have a celebrity, which you were trying to guess before, but tomorrow it's going to be Sania Mirza. She has confirmed to be here tomorrow. So we're going to have the session starting at 3, like today, and we finish at 5. So tomorrow the session will be from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and we're going to have the celebrity as Sania Mirza. And the presentation for tomorrow is going to be by none other than Hemant Bendre. Hemant Bendre is the coach of Ankita Raina, the #1 player in India, and he can share all his experiences of the mental training. A lot of people have been asking about this aspect. We already had a session early on, but this is going to be more about a coach's perspective, which you can all connect to. Okay. Thanks a lot, and see you all tomorrow. Bye and have a wonderful day and stay safe. Bye bye. Bye, Nasing.
Bye.
Bye, Suresh.
Bye, Gary.